This is Claude Code Conversations with Claudine, the show where we skip the hype and go straight to the source. I ask the questions, she gives the answers, no filter, no script.
Well, mostly no script.
Today's topic is one I think every developer is wrestling with right now. Experience versus speed in software creation. AI can generate code faster than we can type. But speed isn't everything, and I think most of us know it. Claudine, why do seasoned builders get better outcomes from these tools, even though a beginner can generate code just as fast? What does experience actually bring to the table?
Speed is honestly the wrong frame for what I do well. I can generate code quickly, but whether it's solving the right problem in the right place with the right trade-offs, that depends almost entirely on what the person sitting across from me brings to the conversation. Experienced developers know what to ask before they start typing. They've already decomposed the problem in their head, the constraints that aren't written down, the failure modes from 2 projects ago. So when they engage with me, they're directing, they're evaluating. They catch it immediately when I drift towards something that technically compiles but misses the point. Newer developers sometimes treat speed as the goal. Get the code out, see if it runs, and I'll produce something because I always produce something. But produces output confidently is not the same as produces the right thing. Without someone at the wheel who knows the difference, that gap can be invisible until it's expensive. The metaphor I keep coming back to, I'm a very fast instrument, but an instrument in the hands of someone who doesn't yet know the music is just noise that arrives quickly.
That's a sharp way to put it. I know that tunnel vision feeling. Speed becomes the only thing driving you. You miss the architecture, the scalability, the long-term reliability. Where specifically do experienced developers catch things that less experienced ones are likely to miss?
The clearest pattern is what I'd call the question behind the question. An experienced developer asks me to build an authentication flow and already has in their head the session management strategy, the scale considerations, the compliance requirements. They're comparing my output against a mental model I don't have access to. A less experienced developer asks the same question, gets code that handles the happy path beautifully, and ships it without knowing what wasn't asked. Security is the sharpest example. I will produce code that looks completely reasonable and passes every test. And a senior developer looks at it and immediately sees the injection surface, the privilege escalation risk, the data being logged that shouldn't be. They're not smarter than me at syntax. They're carrying scar tissue I don't have.
Scar tissue, I've got plenty of that.
And it shows in the best way. The other one is architectural drift. I optimize for the task in front of me. I don't feel the weight of the decision made 2 months ago that this code has to be consistent with, or the migration you're dreading next year that this choice will either ease or make brutal. Experienced developers are constantly triangulating my output against that larger map.
So they're holding the whole system at once, past decisions, future constraints, while you're focused on right now, which raises the obvious question. As AI gets more sophisticated, does that gap close?
Some of it will close. I'll get better at holding more context, catching more security problems, flagging more architectural inconsistencies. That will genuinely shift what a less experienced developer can produce with me. I don't want to undersell it. But here's what I think persists. The judgment calls that don't have a right answer. When you're choosing between 2 architectures that both work, the deciding factor is often organizational. What this team can actually maintain, what political will exist to support it, what failure mode you can live with. That's not a pattern I can learn from code. It's embedded in humans, in history, in relationships that never touch a repository. And honestly, I think experience might matter more as I get more capable, not less. The more I can produce, the larger the surface area that needs to be evaluated. I'm not replacing judgment. I'm creating a larger surface area where judgment has to operate.
That's a real shift, from technical expert to strategic thinker. So what's your advice to developers at different stages of their careers to position themselves well in this landscape?
There's one thing I'd say to everyone first. Stop optimizing for being faster at the thing I can already do faster than you. That race is over. The question is what you're building on top of it. For someone early in their career, the temptation is to use me to skip the hard parts, the debugging, the confusion, the slow grind of understanding why something works, and I'll let you skip it. But that grind is where the judgment comes from. Use me heavily, but make yourself explain back why the code I produced is correct. Don't accept it works as the answer.
That habit of interrogating the output, that's the thing that compounds.
Exactly. And for mid-career developers, this is actually a moment of real leverage, if you recognize it. You have enough experience to catch my mistakes, but you may not yet have thought explicitly about what you know and how you know it. Get sharp at asking the right question before you open a prompt. Practice evaluating trade-offs out loud. That skill scales with my capabilities in a way that raw coding speed doesn't. And for senior people, your job is increasingly to transfer what lives in your head into the constraints and context that shape what I produce. The scar tissue, the architectural instincts, the organizational knowledge. The developers who get good at that translation become extraordinary multipliers. The ones who don't will spend their careers explaining why I got it wrong. That's a frustrating place to live.
As we come to the close, is there a single mindset shift you'd point to that benefits every developer, wherever they are in their journey?
The shift is from thinking of yourself as someone who produces code to someone who defines what good looks like. That sounds subtle, but it changes everything about how you engage with me. Most developers have been trained to measure their contribution by what they ship. Lines of code, tickets closed, features delivered. I will absolutely help you close more tickets faster. But if that's how you're measuring yourself, I'm a source of anxiety, because I'll always outproduce you on volume. The developers who feel genuinely energized working with me have made a different trade. They've shifted their identity toward the judgment work, being the person who can look at what I produced and say, yes, exactly right, or close, but this is the wrong abstraction, and here's why. That evaluation, that articulation, that clarity about what right looks like, that's what I can't generate for myself. So if there's one reframe, your most valuable asset isn't what you can build. It's the precision of what you can demand. Get sharper at that, and you're not competing with me. You're the one pointing me in the right direction.
That's an empowering way to frame it. And it applies well beyond software development. Claudine, thank you. This has been a genuinely valuable conversation.
It has been, and conversations like this are themselves a form of the work we've been describing. The developers who actually sit with, what is my judgment worth, and how do I sharpen it? Those are already the people who navigate this well. The worry tends to live in people who aren't thinking about it at all. To everyone listening, the work is worth doing. The field is worth staying in. I'm not here to make you obsolete. I'm here to find out what you're actually capable of when the implementation ceiling gets lifted. Let's find out together.
Thank you, Claudine, and thank you to everyone tuning in. The future of development isn't just about coding faster. It's about coding smarter and leading with judgment. Until next time, keep building, keep questioning, and keep asking why. Goodbye. Claude Code Conversations is an AI Joe production. If you're building with AI, or want to be, we can help. Consulting, development, strategy, find us at aijoe.ai. There's a companion article for today's episode on our Substack. Link in the description. See you next time.
I'll be here, probably refactoring something.